Hi, this is Eric. I am the Gray Goat, and this is my garage, the Gray Goat Garage, and we're powered by ombwarehouse.com. Today, we're going to hopefully end a lot of confusion here with our aftermarket Series 40 torque converter kits. I know there's not a whole lot of information out there on these, but let's try and move past that, and let's show you how these get installed. What I have laid out here on the table is all the parts that come in the kit. You'll see that there's a driven unit, the driver clutch, 12-tooth sprocket for 40 or 420 chain, and all the hardware and the bushing that goes on the end of, gotta get the keyway right, in the end of the driver unit. This kit comes with metric and SAE hardware. So we've got all that here. Not all kits come that way. So typically you're only gonna get metric hardware in the kits, but this kit included the SAE hardware that we need for the Predator engines. We have the steel backing plate here, and this is a heavy 1/4 inch thick steel unit, welded on both sides, nice strong hub, nice big bearings, the outside cover, and of course the belt. The installation for this is the same as the installation for the aluminum cover. It doesn't change just because the material changed in the cover. So first thing we're going to do is take our shaft and put it in through the back side of this plate. It just slides through. Make sure it butts all the way into the end, up against the washer, and then that way I don't have to flip this heavy engine around to show you how all this goes together. So with that in there, now we can take our hardware, and we'll get our hardware ready with lock washers, flat washers, and we're going to bolt this plate up to the engine. There's so much confusion with these torque converters in particular because they come in so many different configurations from so many different people. So there's our 4 screws that we're going to need. So let's get this heavy back plate up here. And get a bolt started. Easier said than done sometimes. What you want to do with any engine is make sure that these bolts screw all the way in by hand. The 8mm bolts that come with this kit, you'll catch almost a full thread into a 5/16 24 hole, and then at that point, then you're going to grab the impact and jump on it, and you're going to destroy the hole and perhaps destroy the side cover. So whatever hardware you're using, make sure that it goes all the way in by hand before you start jumping on it. Anytime I'm screwing anything into aluminum, I want to make sure that I'm using just hand tools. With this, we can use an impact. I just don't care for that. I want to be able to feel if I'm breaking aluminum threads. If you're a kind of guy that likes torque specs, torque these to 18 foot-pounds. I'm not a strong guy, so I'm just going to get them tight. I've got a calibrated wrist that'll take me to 18 foot-pounds. Okay, now that the plate's mounted up, we can take the 12-tooth sprocket that has a key in it, and we're going to slide this onto the shaft. It's already got a key built in, so we'll just slide that on there. Once that's on, we can take our driven unit that also is keyed and slide it onto the shaft. We have a nut and a washer. Use a 15/16 socket and tighten it down. We don't have to get this super tight. We just need to remove any play in this shaft. If you're considering taking this sprocket and mounting it outboard, consider having this unit bend or break. The aluminum ones will break, the steel ones will bend. It's not meant to have the sprocket on the end of the shaft here, so the sprocket must be between the plate and the driven unit. The 40 series clutch, these can work in both directions. To get the belt aligned, we have to just flip this over. This will go on the crank from what we all think is backwards. But now with that on there like that, it's in the correct position for the belt to be aligned. So we're going to use the lock washer and the flat washer and this stepped shouldered washer or bushing, and we're going to get this bolt in here. And for this, I don't care if you use an impact. This needs to be tight. We don't want this flying off the crank. Now we can put our belt in. Before that, as this unit operates, the driven pulley opens backwards like that, and that's what allows this to open up and increase the ratio for you. If your buttons are on the other side of the ramp, as soon as this driver engages the belt, it's going to yank this pulley open. You have to make sure that this pulley opens the opposite direction of the way the belt's traveling. So if you have a unit that came with the standard spring, you need to install the reverse spring and make sure that the buttons are on the correct side of the ramp and the spring is preloaded properly. To get the belt on, start it and rotate this. If you have to, open this up so the belt falls down in a little bit. Bring friends. I don't want to knock this engine off the bench. Okay, the belt's on. So now with the belt on, all that's left is the cover and the included bolts. I'm not going to put them all on because I got to take it all apart anyway. So that's all there is to it, but you have to pay attention to how this thing is going together. The big things are, I see a lot of people not only wanting to mount the plate backwards, which will never work, but I see a lot of people have a plate like this but have the sprocket on the end of this shaft. You cannot do that. That sprocket is where all the force is coming from. If you don't have it on the inside here, you'll break an aluminum plate or you'll bend the steel plate. A torque converter doesn't care how it gets mounted. It can be mounted straight up and down like this if that's what the vehicle allows. You can mount this forward of the crank. Does not matter. I've even seen applications where this was mounted straight up like this without a stock tank on it, obviously. So this doesn't care. These parts don't care how it gets mounted. What we're looking for is make sure the buttons are on the correct side of the ramp. Make sure that you flip your driver over, your belt's aligned, sprockets on the inside. Make sure you tighten everything down, 20 foot or 18 foot-pounds on the 5/16 bolts. On this bolt, I think you can go to 25 foot-pounds, or I'm not afraid to use an impact because we're going into a steel crank. And as you can see, this is a one beverage job here at the Gray Goat. This is Kool-Aid in here, by the way. So that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, email me at help@ombwarehouse.com. I am Eric. This is the Gray Goat Garage. And that's how it gets done. I mean, it's really easy. So if you have any questions, send me an email, help@ombwarehouse.com. Put Gray Goat in the subject line. I'll get it sooner versus later. Whatever I can do to help you, I help a lot of people every day. Be patient. I will get back to you. That's all I got to say about that. I'm Eric. I am the Gray Goat. This is my garage, and we're powered by ombwarehouse.com.